Hi, how's it going? It's May 17th, and here I'm going to read to you from the Urantia book. First, I'm going to read a little bit from Light the Flame by Andrew Harvey. This is a great book. You're looking for something eclectic, okay, to bring a lot of different things together, Eastern and Western together, okay? This is a great resource, a great morning meditation. Okay, this one is from Abhinavagupta. Abhinavagupta. Thank you for helping me say that. Who was a Kashmiri philosopher. He was born in 950 AD in Kashmir. Okay. May I be one of the illumined ones who sees the body as the temple of Shiva, and so realize the bliss, the great bliss, and so realize the great bliss of transforming its every activity into worship and ecstasy. Abhinavagupta. Okay, so my body is the temple of Shiva, and I transform every activity of my body into worship and ecstasy. Okay. Even my work, even my menial tasks can be done with consciousness of the presence of God. Okay? That's something, okay, try doing that. Try like doing your dishes, or, whatever it is you do on your job, and imagine that God is watching you do that God is with you while you do that. Just imagine that you're observed by somebody who loves you, isn't critical of you, but is just watching you in a loving way, just doing what you do. It's practicing being in the presence of God. And that is to realize the great bliss, transforming its every activity into worship and ecstasy. Okay, very nice. Okay, today's gonna be a little bit short. I'm just gonna read the intro to paper 5. Paper 5, new paper today. We're on God's relation to the individual. All right, okay. So we're moving right along here. The finite mind of man is unable to comprehend how so great and so majestic a God as the universal Father can descend from his eternal abode in infinite perfection to fraternize with the individual human creature. Then must such a finite intellect rest assurance of divine fellowship upon the truth of the fact that an actual fragment of the living God resides within the intellect of every normal-minded, morally conscious Urantia mortal. Okay. I'm gonna do that again. That was long. That was a big sentence. If the finite mind of man is unable to comprehend how so great and so majestic a God as the universal Father can descend from his eternal abode in infinite perfection to fraternize with us, the individual human creatures. Yep, if he's not able to comprehend that, then such a person, such a finite intellect must rest assurance of divine fellowship upon that I've got a piece of God in me. Okay. All right. That makes sense then. Normal-minded and morally conscious. Of course, it's ever a problem. How do we define normal-minded? Okay. How do we define that? or morally conscious. Morally conscious if I know right and wrong. If I understand right and wrong, if I understand that when I alone benefit from an interaction, okay, at the expense, if I am consciously seeking my own benefit, there's nothing wrong with seeking my own benefit. But when it's consciously and deliberately at the expense of another sentient being, okay? Or at the expense of the whole, right? Then that's what wrong is, okay? See, that leads me into the framework of this Ayn Rand capitalist, uh the the biggest fish eat the littlest fish thing. um that is so wrong. That competitive drive to prove that you're the best and you're the most deserving, and each one is striving to prove that, and then that naturally emerges that what comes from that is a pool full of sharks trying to destroy each other and destroying the whole world in the process. Okay, so that's not moral. That's destructive. Okay, normal minded. Okay, so somebody that's sentient, self-aware. Okay, so an animal, like the difference between an animal mind and a human mind is that an animal mind is unable to regard itself as separate from its environment. Okay, not in a large sense. Of course, they recognize the predator, the prey, you know what I mean, but they can't say, okay, so this time I killed my prey this way. It didn't work out that well because of da 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 da. Next time I'm going to do this. They can't make decisions like that. Next time I'm going to do it different. They can't turn and look at their own behavior and try to amend it and do it better next time. That's the line where the human mind begins. That's what a human mind is. It responds to itself. Okay. Animals recognize opportunities, they recognize dangers, they recognize things, but they respond to these things in an instinctive level that they're not able to change the way they respond to these things. If they can, nope, sorry. If they can do that, then that's a human mind. That's a human mind. If they can decide, well, the dog goes and rescues the little boy from the burning building, and he thinks, well, that's a burning building. It's dangerous. I shouldn't go in there. But if he loves his boy that much, that he's willing to go in there and face that danger and bring out the little boy from the fire, then I would say that's a human mind inside that animal. These are potentials. That's not common. Also, if we have, a human, there's probably human bodies walking around here without human minds in them, dwelling in them. That's scary. But that's what that is. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going in here. The indwelling thought adjusters are a part of the eternal deity of the Paradise Father. Man does not have to go farther than his own inner experience of the soul's contemplation of this spiritual reality presence to find God and attempt communion with him. So it's already in your own mind. If you have that thought adjuster, if you've made one moral judgment in your life, one conscious moral act in your life, one thing that you did that was for the benefit of the whole and not necessarily for your own benefit, or you did something, for, you know what I mean? Yeah, for anything, you know. My favorite example is a child deciding to share. Okay, children decide to share. This normally happens, but it has to be a conscious, deliberate act. You know what I mean? I've got, 5 marshmallows on my plate, and Timmy doesn't have any, so I'm going to give him a marshmallow. Something like that, you know? So at that point, the thought adjuster is bestowed. God has distributed the infinity of his eternal nature throughout the existential realities of his 6 absolute coordinates. Okay, what are 6 absolute coordinates? It's distributed the infinity of eternal nature throughout the existential realities of his 6 absolute coordinates. But he may at any time make direct personal contact with any part or phase or kind of reaction through the agency of his pre-personal fragments. And the eternal God has also reserved to himself the prerogative of bestowing personality upon the divine creators and the living creatures of the universe of universes, while he has further reserved the prerogative of maintaining direct and parental contact with all these personal beings throughout the personality circuit. So he maintains contact with us, parental contact with us through the personality circuit. Yeah. Okay, I think that's pretty straight. The only thing I'm wondering about here, what is 6 absolute the 6 absolute coordinates. Existential realities, that's the 3 absolutes, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. And then the unqualified absolute, the deity absolute, and the universal absolute. Isn't the universal absolute? What are those 3 absolutes? Yeah, the universal absolute. Why am I getting this mixed up now? Yeah. Right? Universal absolute. So God on the Isle of Paradise, the first source and center is like the gravity circuit on the Isle of Paradise. All gravity circuits center on the Isle of Paradise. And then there's the first, second, and third source and center, which is the Universal Father, the Infinite Spirit, the Eternal Son. Right, and then there's the yin yang part of it, which is the 3, the absolute, the unqualified absolute, the deity absolute, the universal absolute. Okay, so that's the 6 coordinates. They're hypothesizing a third set of trinities, but they don't know. We don't, they're hypothesizing this. Okay, that's all then for today. Okay, I hope I didn't get that too jumbled up for you. Okay, so we're doing God's relation to the individual, and thank you very much for being with me this morning. Okay, bye.